Hi everyone, just making this video walkthrough slash tutorial where we're going to be deploying a Flask application, which is a Docker contain within a Docker container. We're going to be deploying that onto AWS Lightsail container service, and we're doing this through Terraform. So I think a really useful place to start is just to look at the comparison between the AWS GUI and the Terraform documentation. And so we're looking to create a container service. So let's click on this. And then here we can see that we need to choose a couple of things. We need to choose the power, the scale, and then down here we're defining a name. And so if we look at the documentation here, the Terraform documentation, look at those basics usage. We need to define a resource called AWS Lightsail Container Service, giving it as a name. And so we are defining a name, a power, and a scale. And if we scroll down, we can see that those are the three required fields that needs to be defined. But then also, if we come back to the GUI, the second most important thing is here, set up your first deployment. When we click on this, now there are a couple more things that we need to define. Um, this is where you will actually define your Docker image, and so you'll give that up a name. Specify. I'm going to be doing on Docker Hub, so specify the Docker Hub URL, and then we'll come back to this later. But just now looking at the documentation for that, so this is now the uh, deployment version, container service deployment version, where we are looking to define container name, just like that, image, just like that, and then command here is in its basic usage is tutorial thing they have. You can see it's empty. If we just scroll down, let's have a look. So obviously the service name is required, the container is required, public endpoint is optional, although we are going to want that, otherwise it won't be accessible. And then within the container block, we need to define, of course, again, the container name, image, which will be the URL, command. So if you, let's have a look just quickly at the Docker image, Docker file, sorry. If you define this line here, then you won't need to define a command field in the main.tf in this deployment version resource. However, if you do, then, or if you don't, then you will have to define it in the in the command field. Okay, looking at public endpoint, again, defining container name, doing that a couple of times. Port that you'll want to run it on, and so this should just be consistent with your app.py and your Docker file. So whichever port you're using there, just make sure to be consistent there. Health check is required, but as you can see here, all these fields are optional, and so you can just have an empty health check block. But I just end up using the example that they give here. So let's actually, so if we just look at the app.py quickly, it's just a completely standard Flask application, returning hello world. If we look at the Docker file, since regular Docker file, work directory, copy all this requirements, which is going to be Flask, port, exposing the correct port, and then just running the application. Now let's look at the main.tf file. So once again, looking back here, we're defining these two resources here. And so AWS Lightsail container service, we need to give a power, sorry, we need to give a name. That can be any arbitrary name. Just, I think, I'm not entirely sure, but just be consistent between all of these definitions here. Oh, that's wrong. Power. So let's go back to this and we'll see what examples we can give. We can give nano, micro, small, medium, large. Nano is the smallest, it will cost the least, so just give a nano. Scale one, yeah. And then I'm just giving it a tag, no real reason, just giving it a tag. Now looking at the deployment service or deployment version, we need to define a container block where we define a container name. Doesn't need to be consistent. Or sorry, in the main file, probably be consistent with it, but maybe with the actual doesn't need to be consistent with like the image URL or anything. Um, find the ports, making sure to be consistent with your other files. And then public endpoint, once again, although this is an optional block, technically you're going to want it, otherwise it's not going to be accessible. And so, yep, just consistent name, consistent ports, and then health check. Remember, this block is necessary, but you can just leave it empty. And I'm just using the uh, give an example. And then, oh my God, I just almost forgot this. Service name is required. They define it at the bottom, so this is just like a standard practice thing, I guess. Just defining it at the bottom, and we're just passing in um, the container service name here. That's all. Okay, cool. All that's explained. Let's try and set this up. So here we are within the directory of where everything is. And so I'm just going to go into the uh, Docker image and build the image. Docker build dash t. Uh, I've already got two tags here. I was going to show that. I already got a 0.02, so I'm just doing 0.03. Yeah, hopefully this is good. Okay, I got this command wrong. Oh, of course. Okay, so the image is built. Now we're going to want to push the image to Docker Hub. Okay, and let's just refresh this and check quickly. Okay, great. So that's come through. And so now I'm going to come out of this and go into the Terraform folder. I'm just going to do a Terraform init. Terraform apply now. Great. Oh, for goodness sake, that was bad. And capitals on by accident. Okay, so now this part, now that the apply has actually gone through, it's going to take a long time. And so I will see you when it's done. Okay, cool. So the Terraform apply has gone through. I opened this up in the meanwhile. And so here we are. Now we have the container here. We click into it. And then using the public domain, status running, we should get our result of it. So just like that. So that was how to deploy a Flask app in a Docker container onto AWS Lightsail container service through Terraform. So I hope this was useful to you. I'll put some resources in the description, videos to help me. Yeah, that's all. Thank you very much.